I will get there. For now, I grind. It will pay off in what I build or who I become. I hit my goal or I grow. Either way, I win. Welcome to the 1 of 0 show, episode 2, advice for achieving your goals faster than everyone else. I'll be taking questions from the audience live. Whoa, what's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday in whatever time zone you're in. Thank you for joining us on the 1 of 0 show. So this is something that, backed by popular demand, we tried it a few weeks ago. You guys liked it, so we are doing it again. We are repeating successful actions. So as long as you guys keep liking it, we will keep doing it. Today's theme is around goal setting, but I'll be super transparent with you. I was talking to a family member who's probably going to die in the next, certain period of time. So you're definitely going to get me in a little bit of a mood around that. So I said that as a little bit of a preface for our conversations today. So when I give you responses, take them the way I mean them, which is hopefully the good way. All right. So let's rock and roll.
Alex, what's up, man?
Joe, what's up, man? How's it going?
Dude, doing fantastic. Hey, sorry to hear about your family member, by the way, brother. That's very unfortunate.
We all die.
That's right. And I really appreciate everything you do for the community between your books and your free content, man. You're the man. You've helped me change my life dramatically, dude. You're like a god. So, I just want to get that out of the way. I got the acquisition hat. This is the lead book. Just to show you. Big guy. Big fan of your work, man.
Well, thanks. What can I help you with, man?
So I had a question about setting really large goals, because obviously you've set and hit a ton of large goals throughout your entrepreneur journey. And, whether that be annual revenue for a business, weight loss, personal savings, et cetera, things with a definite ending to it. Yeah. How would you say it's better to set a time frame for these large goals and have a shoot for the star, land in the moon's mentality and not hit it, or have a time frame that you're going to hit it in? And is it easier when you have these large goals to chunk them into smaller goals along the way, so that way you feel like you're progressing throughout the journey of the larger goal?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I'm glad we're starting off with this one. I see both of the examples that you gave as kind of extremes that don't necessarily need to exist, because both of theirs are based on outcome-based expectations, whether it's short or long. And the more I've been doing this, the more I make my goals around things that are 100% controllable. And so the outcome on the short term or the outcome on the long term, neither of those are controllable. But the activities that I can commit to are controllable. And those activities, I can measure progress against them, even on percentage of days that I do the activities I said I would do. And so it's like somebody who says they want to lose weight, and it's much better to say, like, well, why don't you just go to the gym? And so, like, actually there's an employee who's just starting to go to the gym. And he was like, what program should I follow? And I was like, your program is binary. Is that, did you go to the gym? I was like, that's your program.
Yeah.
And the first month, I want to just see how many days you do it. And then next month, we'll try and increase that number. And then once you can do it all the days that you're supposed to be going, then we can start adding things. But until then, I don't think there's any point in anyone putting any effort into what your programming is, because you can't stick with shit, right? And so to the second half of what you said, which is like, do you break things down into like very, very minute level? I pretty much only do that, because I basically say, okay, this is what would be cool, but if it doesn't happen or it does is relatively irrelevant, because I think that if I do these things, that'll happen. But the only thing I can control is doing these things. And then what happens is if I hit 100% of my doing these things and then the goal doesn't happen, I will still feel like I accomplished what I said I was going to do. And so that builds my own confidence in terms of my sticking with my word, because that's like one of the few things I care a lot about, is that if I say I'm going to do it, I'll do it. And so then what you can then do is alter your hypothesis around goal setting. So this is going to be for everybody. So this isn't just for you, Joe. I probably should have done this at the forefront of how we set goals. But at acquisition.com, we have a very simple process for setting goals. Number one is we say, what problem are we solving? And that problem should chunk up to one of three things. Either we're going to if we solve this problem, it's preventing us from getting more customers. So if we solve it, we'll get more customers. It's going to we're not making enough money per customer. So if we solve it, we'll make more money per customer. And number three is that it's going to decrease our risk of either of the first two happening over the long term, which increases enterprise value, right? So if you think about the value of a company overall, it's number of customers times LTV or lifetime value, and how long that will happen and how likely that will continue to happen in the long run. And so all goals have to bucket. And so that's really helpful for your employees. If they're like, hey, I think we should make this a goal, I'd be like, well, how's it going to do one of these three things? And if they can't explain it, then it's probably not worth doing, which many things could improve a business, but we have limited resources. And the job of the CEO is to allocate money and effort. And so if we're the allocator of those resources, we have to make sure it's going to the bucket's going to get us the highest return. So number one column is it get us more customers? Does it make them worth more? Or is it decreasing the risk that those things are going to stop happening in the future? That's column one. Column two is what's my hypothesis? So I believe that if we do this, if we do X, Y will happen, right? So it's just a hypothesis statement because we make these goals, but there's always an underlying assumption that we think something's going to happen if we do this. I think if I double the amount of videos I put out, I'm going to get more clicks to my website. That's the hypothesis. Now, the goal that we're trying to solve is get more customers. My hypothesis is if I double my number of videos that I make, I'll get more customers or get more clicks to my site. Cool. So then column 3 and column 4 is what is X and what is Y, right? Which is what is the thing I'm going to do and what do I think is going to happen? And so that's the first part of the goal setting. That's all we do. What problem are we solving? What's the hypothesis? What's the X, which is the input? What's the Y, which is the output? That's all we do. We do with every single company. That's what we do every quarter. So we do every annual planning. That's what we do. After the quarter or the time period's over, we then have 2 more columns to say, did we do X? Did we actually double our number of videos? And then did Y happen? Because you can also you can double your number of videos, but then you find out that your quality drops. And so you actually didn't get the number of clicks that you thought to your site. So you had a hypothesis, but it was wrong. And we're like, okay, so we need to amend our hypothesis. So we have to double our number of videos while also making sure that we script them and have ideas that are just as good as they were before. So then we have to solve that problem, right? But that is the process that we tackle all of our goals. And I have spent less and less time thinking huge amounts in the future. I mean, exciting stuff, sure, if you're vision casting for the team to say like, this is the big problem we're going after. But in terms of the doingness of the business, everything's down to like, what are the activities? What are we committing to? And then the outcomes take care of themselves. And as far as I'm concerned, if the entire team did everything they said they were going to do, and we didn't achieve any of those quote outcomes, that doesn't matter to me at all.
Wow. Yeah, there was a lot to unpack there. Very insightful, very insightful stuff. No, I love when you go on like the riff. I'll definitely have to play that one back and take notes, man. That was really
just break down the activities. Just break down like you have. So what's the goal that you have right now? Or what
my
goal
big
are you
goal?
Contemplating?
So that kind of goes into my second question. So there's a big goal.
Okay.
Early on in your career, because I know your story. You had one of your mentors switch you from doing the local gyms into the consultancy and license model with Gym Launch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, my main goal for this year and going forward is, and it's just, I'm kind of in a crossroads on what exactly I should do because I really want to help as many people as possible. That is my big term goal. And I think my biggest, leverage activity that I could do to help as many people as possible is to do a similar model to yours to help struggling landscape owners get from $0 to $1 million in gross revenue with 20 to 30% margins. But what advice would you give to me if you were in my shoes while still trying to grow my landscaping business and switch to this business model and start a consulting model?
So right now, what you have is a strategic question. Rather than really a goal. Like you have a directional question that you need to make a decision about within the business. And so most brick and mortar business owners kind of have three potential paths that they can expand, right? So one is just private ownership. You just continue to own and open more and more locations. All right. That's number one. Number two is kind of in between there is you kind of have a franchise model, right? You test it, you have 1 to 5 locations of your own that you own at corporate, and then you franchise the model out, or you can license the model out, whatever. The furthest from that is what I would consider just more of an education-based business, which sounds like what you were kind of referencing. At scale, all 3 of those help lots of people. So I wouldn't say that one way helps more than another. And even the advice that I got at that time, I don't know if I would have given me that advice. That's just the advice that I got. Because if I had gone back in time, I might have 200 gyms right now, and I'd probably be just as rich as I am now. So, you know what I mean? Like, winners will win. And
Right.
the problem, I'll say this, is that the problem with starting over, because that's what this is that when you start into this new thing, you're starting at zero because you're now competing in a brand new landscape. You're going from B2C to B2B. You have to understand national advertising versus local. It's a totally different game, right? And it's tough to give you like what is the right path, because you could win at all three. But I would say that I wouldn't downplay the amount of people that you help with your current business, because how many employees do you employ right now who now like enjoy their jobs because you know, have a good setup for them and you encourage them and, you know, you give them career advancement? And how many people get time back in their lives because you take care of their landscaping for you so they can do other things? They can be with their kids, be with their families, whatever it is. Right. So I think it's a short-term, long-term thing. Right now, this feels shiny and new to like pursue this other thing because it's money that's right here. But I had a business owner who had a single location who approached me four-ish years ago, and he was a similar position as you, and I advised him against doing what you were kind of outlining. And the main reason was I just said, well, how much does it cost to open a new location? And he was like, I don't know, like 40 or 50 grand. And I was like, okay, well, how much do they make? He's like, I don't know, 300, 400,000 in profit. And I was like, okay, well, we should just run that play as much as humanly possible and forget about the whole like licensing thing. And now that company is a behemoth, is a 9-figure business now, 4 years later, with hundreds of employees that help thousands of families, tens of thousands of families every single year. And so I think that you can think just as big as you want in any of these vehicles. And you currently already have paid down the ignorance tax of what you're currently doing. Like, you're just getting to the point where you're starting to make money and doing a good job with it. When it gets boring is usually when you need to go harder.
Right.
Like when it gets so easy, right, that you're like, I could do this with my eyes closed. Like when you can do it with your eyes closed, that's when you 10x it.
Right.
Rather than say, okay, now this is easy. I'm gonna go hit myself in the fucking head and try to learn something new because I'm an entrepreneur and I just like making my life hard. But boring is where you get rich. Like location, you know, how many locations you got now?
So it's just one centralized crew of four full-time guys and then one project manager. And it's just one of the biggest bottlenecks with it is just it takes a lot of capital and skilled labor to do, you know, what I do, which is kind of like, you know, expert landscape design with insulation and landscape, you know, just a little bit more niche landscaping area without going too much into detail. So I just think it'd be harder to scale compared to giving the framework that I used over the last 4 years of all that information, similar to what you did with gyms, to other business owners that are struggling, because there's tons of guys in the business that are under $1 million per year that are just struggling. And I really think I'd like to help those guys, because I've helped people in my, you know, in my area, just giving them tips, and they're like, man, this tip really helped. And, you know, I've like doubled my leads, you know, all these things. So I have the information. It's just, that's what I'm really struggling with, you know.
It's a short-term, long-term thing, man. Like it's so I'll say this. You got to pick where you want the difficulty in terms of scaling, right? Like the doing the tips and tricks and selling those and whatnot, very easy to make quick money, very hard to make huge money. The difficulties that you have right now, the good news is that once you overcome those difficulties, you then can scale. And whatever monsters you have to slay on your quest to building coastal creation, right, to something really big, the person who's going to follow you is going to have to slay the same dragon. And if it's really easy for you to just do this other thing, it's really easy for someone else to do it too. And so a lot of people see hardship and scaling as somehow a bad thing, but they're just also called moats or competitive barriers that other people would have to overcome. And so I'll just rewind this to like, if you want to make a shitload of money in terms of build huge enterprise value, the thing, and like ultimately sell a business, then you want to go private ownership or you want to go a franchise route. If you want to just make income, then by all means, you can sell information. It has high margins and you can do it that way. But it's very difficult to make it recurring. It's very difficult to turn that into an enterprise. It's very easy to make it into a high income generating thing, but you will give yourself a job that pays well, most likely. And that's what most people who are in that space have.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, I know there's like 7 people behind me and trying to ask for questions, so I'll let you
You're
get to
good.
the next one.
Don't
So
worry. There's 100 other people who had the same question as you who that served. So you're good, man. Thanks so much, Joe. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Alex. Thanks, man.
100%.
Alex,
Peter,
how's it going?
good, man. What's up?
I'm great, thanks, man. I really appreciate that you take the time to answer my question. I speak of goals not in terms of achieving specific things like making X amount of dollars,
Cool.
but more of a goal for the business life.
Okay.
Imagine you don't really know what you want to do, but maybe you know what you don't want to do.
Sure.
How to set the right, under quotes, goals? Is it
Mhm.
simply the opposite of what you don't want?
I think it's a wonderful way to start. Because if you, I mean, Charlie Munger said, "All I wish I could do is know where I'm going to die and just never go there." Obviously, rest in peace to Charlie. But I think it's a wonderful exercise because sometimes trying to figure out what you want is really really hard. But a lot of people know really clearly what they don't want, and you can approach the process through elimination. And then once you eliminate everything, what's left over, you can again, what are all the things I don't like about what's left over, and you eliminate more until eventually you're left with things that you're like, what, this isn't bad. And then you look up, 2 years from now, and you're like, what, I kind of like my life. And from a business life perspective, just for me personally, that's very much the path that I followed. I looked back at the last few years of my life and was like, okay, what were the good days? What were the bad days? And I said, what were the common things that happen on my bad days? Okay, how do I not do that stuff? And then what were the common things that happened on my good days? Well, how do I do more of that? And over the last few years, I've just tried to engineer my days to just be as many of the good things in a row as I can. I had a mentor way back, or like 10, 12 years ago. And I had a particularly good weekend, and I went into work and I said, yeah, I just had this great weekend. And she said something really insightful. And she's like, I'm pretty sure the key to happiness is stringing as many days in a row like that as you can. And it was just such a simple operationalized way of just seeing living a more enjoyable life, that I took that to heart. And so that's kind of how I've approached it. And I, for a very long time, kind of lived by the whole fuck happiness mantra, which is like, I don't care. I'm going to do things and I'm going to be useful to society, independent of whether I enjoy it or not. But in my lack of pursuit of it, a few years ago, I was on a podcast and somebody asked me like, are you happy? And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I used to introduce myself as like, hey, I'm not the happiness guy. Like, don't listen to me for that, but I can help you make more money.
Yeah.
But I enjoy my life a lot now. Which is, almost as surprising to me as it might be to anybody else. But I actually really like my life. But it wasn't, that was never really the goal. I just tried to avoid things I hated for the most part. And then when everything that I hated was gone, I kind of liked what was left.
Okay. Maybe one side note on this. I know you are talking a lot about you don't have to find your passion, but you can create your passion by doing
Totally.
things to get good
100%.
at it, to be then passionate about it. But for my opposite example from before, if there are not two planes where there is one opposite, maybe this is a kind of a sphere or something where there are several opposites. You have to, as you said, maybe eliminate one after the other until you find the opposite of it, So, because I opened the question when because I said when you don't know what you do, it's a good thing in general. It's a bad thing, but if you know what you don't want,
Yeah.
then it's a good thing. And
Okay.
there's maybe an opposite of it. But maybe there is not just one opposite. Maybe there are a bunch of opposites if this is some kind of a sphere, and how to find the right opposite of,
Yeah, I think you can cross out many paths. Yes. And so the way that I
Mhm.
think about this is I think about it more directionally than I think about it in terms of the perfect pick. And so I think one of the big fallacies of entrepreneurship is that we're going to pick right the first time and it's going to be perfect. And the reality
Mhm.
is that you don't have the context from which to make the judgment because you don't have enough information, because you haven't done any of
Mhm.
them. And so it's a ridiculous hope to think that you're going to pick right on the first time. It's really just like hoping you win the lottery. Of course you have no idea, you've never done it, right? And so um I think about it in the most basic terms. It's like, okay, do I like words more? Do I like numbers more? It's like, oh, I like numbers more. Cool. Well, I can just cross out all the stuff that has to do with words. Now, of the numbers careers, What are all the industries that are predominantly numbers or career paths within those? Okay, well, there's data analyst, there's media buying, there's conversion rate optimization. Like these are all things that are very metric driven. Okay, well, which of these? Well, CRO stuff is a little bit marketing and numbers. Okay, well, I don't really like marketing stuff. Okay, what about finance and numbers? Okay, I kind of like that. Okay, cool. Then you can start, and then all of a sudden you just cut out huge tranches. Now, at some point, you take the jump, and you're like, well, I'm just going to jump into here. And what ends up happening is that you learn a ton of skills in that first career path or first jump or first business, whatever it is. But here's the part that I think people mess up is that they think that if you spend 2 years, they're like, man, I spent 2 years doing this job or career or business that I didn't like. And they think that's somehow wasted when really all you did was gain more information. And I mean, a lot of people know the story from Steve Jobs. He took a class in calligraphy, right? Which made absolutely no sense. Which is just writing, like how you write, whatever, handwriting. And years later, when he came out with the Mac, it was the reason they had fonts was because he took a class in calligraphy years earlier. And so if you follow the quote perfect path, you're not going to have these little side quests that create kind of the nuance and the depth of your understanding and the different perspectives that you can take to a job or a career or a business. And so for me, like I came into the gym world with a space, cyber, and intelligence background from military consulting. Right. So like it had nothing to do with that. But the thing is that I learned a lot of skills at that position that I was able to apply to the gym. And so I was able to look at the gym business a little bit differently than I think a lot of other gym owners did. And so that gave me an advantage. And so it wasn't that I wasted those 2 years. It was just part of the path. And so I think that a lot of people really hard on themselves and think that you need to have the perfect pick, but life is long and it's about acquiring the skills along the way. And even if something isn't the perfect fit, you learn more about what you don't like, you cut that stuff out and you lean more towards the stuff you do. And that's it, because the only reason that you have this rush is because you think you need to get somewhere, but you don't. You're going to die. Everyone ends in the same place.
May I give you a little bit of context? I
Sure.
studied computer science and started my business as a freelancer. It's a classical path.
Sweet.
It was obvious somehow. Then I moved towards being an agency. I hired people
Cool.
and took over projects.
Okay.
But when I asked myself, where do I want to be in 5 years, the answer was totally different. I
Okay.
want to help people to grow somehow. I
Okay.
couldn't really see this by being an agency.
Okay.
At least not in the way I wanted to be. So I pivoted recently. I shut down my small agency after 2 years. And
Okay.
currently, I'm helping 5 software freelancers,
Okay.
some like people like me,
Yeah.
to build a better business
Cool.
throughout my learnings. I
Cool.
do this for free. Your
Great.
first book inspired me a lot. By this, I hope to find out what my product or service can be, and also finally to find my goal, my business goal.
Yeah.
Is this roughly how you would approach it?
You can,
Like
okay,
test,
so
measure,
I'm gonna pull
adopt?
two things from that real quick. So one, and this isn't to make you feel bad about the decision that you made, but the idea that you couldn't help people while owning an agency, I think was wrong. Because you absolutely could have made the lives of every person that worked for you better. And so it's really just like how you choose to chunk up the goal, because like you can absolutely make the 5 or 10 people that work for you every day have amazing lives. And you can have a deep impact on 10 people's life that can last forever, right? And their families and their kids and so forth. So I just want to put that out there, just because you're not the only person who thinks this, who saw that thought. Now, with regards to where you're currently at, I would think about, you did different things with your agency. There were probably some things that you weren't good at. There are probably some things that you were great at. I would just get really specific on the things that you were great at. And then if there's elements of implementation around those things that you can help them do, some done with you or done for you services around that, then do that in exchange for money. You know what I mean? And you can make the content around that, and don't be afraid of like giving away the secrets. It's never the issue, because a good friend of mine, Neil Patel, if you know who he is neilpatel.com. They serve Fortune 100 companies for SEO, and so he gives away all the secrets of doing SEO. And we've talked about it, and he's like, oh, I literally have tutorials and everything that we do. He's like, but no one wants to do it, so they just hire us. And so like everyone has this fear that like you're going to give away. It's just like, it's a lot of work. No one wants to work. And so if you can just give people a shortcut, even if you explain all the nuance of the entire process, people just trust you more. And then when they do come to you, they're coming with clear expectations, because it's like, hey, have you consumed my stuff? And they're like, yeah. It's like, that's what we're going to do. Cool. Great. And so I think just get hyper specific on the things that you were really good at within your agency, and don't pretend to be good at things that you weren't. Because you're gonna be tempted to do that, because some of the people might start running into the obstacles that you ran into, and then look for you for help, and don't make shit up, because that's where you get in trouble. So what I would then do is say, hey, I don't know, I struggle with this too, but I'll bring in people who I knew did a really good job with this, and then we'll learn together. And then you can document that stuff. So I'll give you an example. When I had my gyms, I wasn't very good at keeping customers. Now, I mean, like, I wasn't terrible at it, but I would never have said I was a churn specialist. I wasn't really good at like super long LTV, but I was so good at the marketing and sales side and making the business profitable overall. But like, I had probably industry average churn. Now, when I had Gym Launch and I had access to thousands of gyms, I was like, hey, who here has super low churn and has had low churn for 6 months? And so I had 20 guys out of 1,000 who raised their hands. So the top 0.2% came up, and I was like, okay. So I interviewed all of them and found out what every single one of them did. Now, all of them had a list of 100 things that they were doing, but they all did 5 things. So 5 things, all of them did. And so then I took those 5 things, I standardized it, and then I gave it to 10 gyms that were sucking at churn. And I said, do these 5 things and let's see if your churn improves. And then their churn improved by a lot. And then I gave it to another 10 gyms and their churn improved by a lot. And I was like, okay, now I can feel confident and I can state the facts and tell the truth that I say, hey, I was not an expert at this, so I found the answers out. And this is what happened to the gyms that we did it with. Use it if you want. And so I would just approach it from that perspective and don't flaunt or pretend like you know something you don't wherever you got stuck. But for you, you've got the software guys. Get hyper specific on the stuff you're good at. Help them with that stuff, either in a done with you or done for you model. And I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, great input. Many thanks for this and for your time, Alex. And I consume really everything literally you put out there all the time. It's always mind blowing. So really a big thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Have a good
luck,
one,
man.
Alex.
Imagine someone you know achieves every dream and hits every goal they have. Years later, they get old and die. 2 years later, how much do you care? About as much as everyone else will if you accomplish your goals and dreams. Do it for you. You know, I mean, this has kind of been my mood going into this call today, to be honest with you. So I told Jason, who's behind the camera, I was like, it's going to be a weird day on goals because I'm going to be like, what does it matter? We all end up six feet below the ground anyways. But I think the opposite side of that coin is all of the reasons that we tell ourselves why we shouldn't go after big things are completely irrelevant after we die. And the people's opinions that we're afraid of, they too die. And so if people live on past us, they don't think about us. And if people don't live on past us, they're dead anyways. And so the idea that we would spend our entire lives catering to people who will never think about us again feels like a damn shame. And so I think the constant reminder for me that I'm going to die and that I will be forgotten and that the goals and achievements that I have are irrelevant help me go after bigger things because it makes life worth living for me in the meantime.
Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Is it Afif?
It's Afif.
Nice.
It's
What's up,
Afif.
man? How's it going?
Good. Just wanted to say that I'm really grateful for being on this platform, having the opportunity to ask questions directly to you. And once again, if my energy is a bit low, like I live in Dubai, so it's like 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
You're
It's
good,
3 a.m. in
man.
the morning
You're
right
good.
now.
How can I help?
So yeah. So getting straight to the point, oftentimes in the past, I've set ambitious goals for myself, like big goals for myself. But to hit these goals, I've burnt myself out, which resulted in me not hitting my next set of goals.
Sure.
And I start going in this mindset of like, hey, sometimes things that you love don't always love you back.
Okay.
And in your personal opinion, how do you balance between like ambitious goal setting with the risk of getting burnt out? And what strategies would you recommend for maintaining motivation over a long period of time to help with that?
Yeah, I think I mean, it's a good question and it's a common one. And so I see that as a common struggle. So it's not a bad thing. Just know that you're not alone with it. I was the reason you get burnt out is because you're in a rush. Like that's it. Like you're in a rush. Because if you said I have to achieve that goal by the time I die, you wouldn't burn out. Right? And so it's only based on an arbitrary expectation that you set for yourself. So like you are burning yourself out, like no one else is. Like you choosing to set a goal. Like if I said I need to be a billionaire tomorrow, I could work around the clock and I probably wouldn't be a billionaire tomorrow. Was it a bad goal? Well, yeah, but it was really more that it was a bad timeline. more than anything. Now, the flip side is people ask me, well, once you hit $1 billion, then what? Are you gonna retire? Are you gonna do something? It's like, well, no. Well, then people ask that about 100, and I was like, and once I get to $1 billion, it'll be 10 billion, because it doesn't really matter what the goal is. It's just who I want to become along the way and the work that I want to do on a daily basis. And so I don't think you would burn out if you said, I will commit to doing these things. And independent of whether or not the goal happens, what I care about is progress. And so if you said, I need to be a millionaire in 12 months, well, the math says that only 1 out of every 200 people is a millionaire. Makes $1 million a year, excuse me. It's less than that for millionaires. But also that takes into account that many of those people are 70. And so they've probably lived longer than you, right? And so, I think in the US, the top 1% income is $650,000 a year right now. That's top 1%, right? And so to set a goal that I will be in the top 1% in 12 months, I mean, you can set that goal. It also just doesn't matter. That goal is irrelevant. Why not 6 months? Why not 6 seconds? It's completely arbitrary. You make it up and then you stress yourself out and to try and hit it, right? But if you said, what activities would make it unreasonable that I don't make progress? And if you do those activities on a long enough time horizon, you will hit your goal and surpass it. But the thing is real is the goal just doesn't matter. The goal is the activities that you do, because the work is the only thing that matters in the long run. The work you do, the work is the goal. And if there's one message that I could fucking get out there to everybody, is that a large part of my success has been that every year I get closer and closer to what my ideal is, which is that the work is the goal. That's it. It's not the work is the goal so that the winning takes care of itself. It's not we go to practice and then the score takes care of itself, because even by saying and the score takes care of itself, and the goals happen anyways, we still make the goals king. But if you make the work king, as in your dedication to doing excellent work whenever you do it, because that's who you are and who you choose to be, and you don't put out subpar stuff because you would know, it channels into a different level of energy. I don't burn out. I don't think I ever will burn out. And it's not for everybody who follows, I'm not a high energy guy. You know what I mean? I'm there's some guys I see and I'm that guy just doesn't stop. I stop all the time, right? But I'll endure because I keep my commitments. It's probably one of the only things I do is I keep my commitments. And so if you dedicate yourself to excellence overall, because that's an ideal that matters to you, that's an ideal that matters to me. It might not be you, but whatever your ideal is, then you can live every day of your life in pursuit of that ideal, knowing that you will fall short of perfection, but still trying to make progress towards it. And so even if one day you don't work because you're fucking exhausted, it's not well, I might as well eat pizza because I didn't work out today. It's no, I'll have a slice and I'll work out tomorrow, and then I'll do it again. And this month I worked out 13 times. The next month I'm going to try to work out 16, rather than saying, oh, I fell off my workout routine this month, I burned out. It's just progress, right? And so I think about what are the activities that I will commit to, and you do have to have some sort of realistic thing. You have to pay rent, you have to eat food, you have to make some sort of money, of course. But is it reasonable that I'm making progress? Because at the end of, let's say, this year, if you go from whatever you're making to, let's say it's, I don't need to know what it is, but let's just say it's $100,000 a year. And by the end of the year, you make $200,000 a year, but you set your goal at $1 million. Are you a failure? Maybe you chose to make yourself a failure. If you want to be a failure, you can choose to make yourself a failure. You can also choose to make yourself a success. Right. And so, because then if you look at that and well, if I keep doing that for another year, I might be at 400,000. And I had my neighbor, Jacob, years ago. He was 15 years old. And I said, what do you want to do? And he's like, dude, I just want to make money. That's what he said. I said, if I could have you sign a contract that you make no money for the next 10 years, but then you're a millionaire guaranteed 10 years from now, would you sign it? And he said, yes. And I said, cool. You're not living your life that way. And so a lot of people say they would sign it, but then they turn around and then they act like they have to be a millionaire in 90 days. And then it takes them 10 years to realize that it was never going to happen. And they had to slow and steady progress. It just looks like it's fast from the outside because that's how social media portrays it. People don't get popular until they get big, but just no one sees the early 10 years. You know what I mean? And so all that to say, commit to the activities that you will do, and then look at the outputs of those activities. And as long as you're making progress and you have a feedback loop of how do I get better? How do I get better? How do I get better? You will win on a long enough time horizon. But the reality is like the win, the W, you move it anyways. Like as soon as you hit 1 million, you'll set the goal at 2 million. Like it's irrelevant. It just doesn't matter. But what will matter is the type of person you become along the way, because that person can't be taken from you. They can take your money. They can't take who you are.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much, Alex, for the information itself. Like obviously a lot of people listen to this as well, right? So all my friends, like whether it's Daniel, Bass, or even Alex himself, like I'm really grateful for this opportunity right now. Thank you so much.
Oh, you bet, man. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Thanks for coming on.
Alex,
Maxwell,
how you doing?
owner of Rose and Crown. What's up?
Yeah, it's my agency. I've started the agency like about 6 years ago. It's been a wild ride.
Cool. What kind of agency?
We do SEO and website content marketing.
Cool.
For small business. Typically
Local?
like contractors and home build design, like
Home
sector.
services. Got it. Cool.
Yeah. I know this is about goals, so I'm gonna start it off with a little quote you might have heard. Is a dream written down with a date becomes a goal.
Sure.
A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan, and a plan backed by consistent action becomes reality. So that's a big thing that I live my life by, is creating this sort of a goal ladder.
Sure.
And my question for you is like, how do you track your goals? Do you do, I use the bullet journal method. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but that's how I can like track my progress for individual goals as well as business goals.
It's a great question, and I think that my answer will surprise you. I don't really track many goals. I haven't really written goals down much in a while. I mean, we have company goals and things like that, but those usually get broken down by department. And when I had a smaller business, I didn't really write them down that much. And so I applaud you. You're probably doing something much smarter than I did. But I will say that I spend an inordinate amount of my time trying to figure out what the one thing that I can do that will make all the rest of the things not matter or be irrelevant. And so like, if there's one problem that I can solve that makes all the other problems go away, I try and focus on that. And so like a few years ago, I was like, man, all these billionaire, overnight $1 billion companies are getting spawned by people building big personal brands. And so I was like, well, then I'll just do that. And so here we are. Right. And so I thought, like, I try and think of like, what is the one chess move I can make that makes the rest of this stuff irrelevant? And so then I just ruthlessly dedicate myself to doing the activities that I think that'll achieve that, and then just get better along the way.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. What do you, if you don't mind me asking, what do you think? Because I've been on a couple podcasts talking about this, and I have an interesting like perspective on it. But like when AI, ChatGPT, this stuff kind of hit the ground hard last year, I kind of saw the writing on the wall that agencies in general are going to go through like a massive consolidation. And I think that in 3 years, maybe 5, but maybe less than, maybe like 3 years, like a college kid is going to have one software that kind of does everything, and they'll be able to outcompete most agencies, down in LA or up here in Santa Barbara. What do you think about that?
I think that there's really only 2 modes of humanity. There's humans plus tools, and tools, basically, as long as humans compete against humans, you're fine. It's because that college kid is going to have the same access as you will. And so as long as we are competing against other humans, I'm not really that concerned, because they'll have tools, I'll have tools, we'll both use tools to our advantage, like all humans have since the dawn of time. The moment that it's humans against machines, machines win. And so, but once humans are against machines, to me, that's kind of like, doesn't really matter. We're going to lose. And so we just hope for the best that they like us. But I don't, just to be really real, like I don't spend a lot of time worrying about it, because what am I going to do about it?
Right.
Like there's nothing that I'm like, what is going to change about my behavior? Nothing. And so until that day comes, I will equip myself as I always have, trying to best prepare, use the tools that are available, try and leverage those things so we can get more out of them than other people can, try and adopt technology faster than my competitors do. But if there ever is a, a trump card technology that comes out there, well, then that questions the meaning of life overall, and it's, you know, humans against machines, and, you know, money doesn't matter, and, you know, it's guns and gasoline, or who knows, right? But like,
Yeah.
I just
agree with you.
there again, I go all the way down there, and then I'm like, well, what am I going to do today? I'm probably going to make content that I said I was going to make, and I'm going to write the book that I said I was going to write. I'm going to take these calls and make these investment decisions, and that's what I'm going to do. And so that I don't stress about it. I'll just put it that way. I don't stress about it. I think it's easy to spin yourself up, because then you get into this existential threat, but you'll probably do what you've always done, which is you'll adapt.
Yeah. And I did adapt. So what we started doing last year, which is funny, is when I read your book and I've been watching a lot of your things, you kind of hit the nail on the head on what we did with Rose and Crown, which is we basically positioned ourselves as like consulting agents, like a consulting agency. And what we do is we train an in-house individual to do everything that we do using the software that we do. And then we just charge monthly for that.
Yeah. Put yourself out of business. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. So that's basically my solution, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Well, awesome, dude. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Have a good one.
All right. See you, brother. Work plus big goals equals ambition. Lazy plus big goals equals entitlement. Big goals don't make you different. Big work does. You know, it's funny because like a lot of people, it's funny. I mean, this is obviously a whole day on goals, but a lot of people have big goals. Like that doesn't really mean very much. It's just what are you doing about it? And when I see somebody who has huge goals and isn't doing anything about it, it's just like they feel like they deserve a big life. But like you don't get a big life by just wanting it. Like everyone wants it. Everyone wants a six pack. Everyone wants a beautiful wife or a beautiful spouse or whatever. Everyone wants a big business, but that doesn't change anything. Like your desire changes nothing. And claiming, and like I hate all the deservingness worthy mantra that is peddled by the internet because they want to tickle people's ears and make them feel good about themselves. Like it does nothing. And so a lot of people, I mean, I try and boil everything down to behavior, which is what are you going to do? And basically nothing else matters. Like all the words that people use to describe their emotions, to describe X, Y, and Z, like it just doesn't matter until you translate it into activity. Like, what are you going to change about behavior? Even when we were talking about the AI thing earlier, it's like, well, what are you going to change about our behavior? If we're not going to change anything about our behavior, then talking about it doesn't serve us, right? And so having big goals is fine, but I would just say, like, it honestly, it's fine. It just doesn't matter. Like if someone comes to me, like the amount of times I have conversations like this, people like, I want to be a billionaire. I want to help 1 billion lives. And I'm like, cool, man. That's awesome. What are you doing about it? Like, it's just easy to say. I had a gym owner once who was like, I want to help 10 million people get fit. And I was like, no, you don't. You have a local gym. You don't want to help 10 million. If you did want to help 10 million people, you would go about it completely differently. Like you say that because people around you nod their heads and you feel good when people say that's great. That's why you keep saying it, because you get reinforced by other people when you say it, not because you actually fucking want to do that. Because it just comes down to what you're going to do. And so all day long, all of that ladders up to activity. And so if you don't know how you spend your time in terms of what you do, then I can promise you that you're not going to get where you want to go. Anyways, the deservingness, worthiness mantra, like manifestation, I hate all of it. It's complete gobbledygook. It's make believe. It's not a thing. Like I can stand here and just wish for a million. It's literally wishing. It's just saying, if you keep wishing for it, it'll come. The universe, like as though the universe gives a fuck about you, right? The universe is going to deal you something because we have one-itis. We think we're the center of it. It's like, it doesn't matter. But I actually think that's really comforting because it means that you can not be worthy at all. You can not be deserving. You can be an absolute asshole. You can be a moron with 3 fingers and like looking like this and can't speak English. And it doesn't matter, because if you still do the stuff that gets you what you want, you still get it. And to me, that is the ultimate equalizer. If more people find out about your stuff, more people will buy. If you make your offer better, more people will buy. And so do those things. The rest of it, leave the manifestation and the worthiness and the deservingness and the affirmations and the self-love and whatever the fuck else, leave that to your competition. And while you stomp on their necks as you just move past them because you're focusing on doing more and doing better of what has worked in the past, then you'll get on podcasts and say, you know, I just always dreamed this way, and I just I'm just kidding. Anyways, that's my little rant for that moment. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Alex, so nice to be with you here. And what you just said is the reason I follow you. Love what you do. I love your podcast. And I love the fact that you're on LinkedIn now, your little tidbits of information. I am probably not your typical follower. So I work in nonprofit,
Cool.
but I do, my entire job is around helping business owners. So I'm around business owners and entrepreneurs
Cool.
all the time. And I do dabble in businesses myself in my
Cool.
spare time. So my question is around, it's more general. So it's around just being a person who always has some goals,
Right.
whether they're learning, so
Cool.
just learning new things, so learning
Yeah.
goals, fitness goals, as well as growing businesses, not specifically my own, but helping friends and others to grow their businesses. And my question is like around how um, I'm pretty aggressive about having all
Me
those
too.
goals. And like, how do I not alienate the people around me and keep like the quality of those relationships when I'm like, go, 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 and
Mhm.
people are telling me to slow down or take it easy. Yeah, so that's my first question.
Before I answer, what do you think I'm going to say?
Leave those people behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is like, you can't be all things to all people, right? Like they have their dream for what they want Stephanie to be like to them, and you have your dream of what you want Stephanie to be like. And what you're coming up against is the conflict between those two ideas. And so they want you to behave a certain way. And that behavior, they're basically demanding from you. And when you don't act that way, they punish you verbally, they avoid you, they send messages, whatever it is, right? They passively aggressively make comments, whatever it is. And so like as you level up, people either come with you or they fall off. And so, I mean, I tend to be binary when it comes to either someone is helping me achieve, basically helping me become the person that I want to become, or they're hindering me. And I just don't have room in my life for people who aren't helping me.
Right.
And so I think it's really admirable that you're helping a lot of businesses with the nonprofit and things that you're doing. And you have these goals. And so oftentimes people get a lot of anxiety. So I define anxiety by having many plans, but few priorities. And so you have lots of things that you want to do, but you don't know which one to do. And that's what creates anxiety, right? You're just like, I'm not sure which way to go, right? The equal opposite of that is sadness, where you just don't know any path because you don't see any option whatsoever. And so it's a very different feeling. And so if you feel that way, it just means you need to make an order. You have to force rank. You say, what is most important to me? And everything else comes second to that. And if you can't, like, you have to make that order for yourself because it gives you clarity. And once you have clarity, then you can make decisions around an outcome. Like, this is what I want. And when I say, for me, from an outcome perspective, I really think inputs and outputs. Like you said, you have a fitness goal, you have a learning goal, you have a business goal, right? I boil all of those down to inputs and outputs. It's the same reason I started this thing with saying, like, our way of doing goals is we say, what's the input, what's the output? And so fitness, the input is probably going to be like, I need to go to the gym and lift weights or do cardio, whatever it is, right? X days a week. Cool. That's my input. Whether I get in shape or not, I'm not getting into like nutrition, all that stuff, but like that's that input, right? My learning goal is that I want to read 3 books. Now, I would boil that down probably another level because a lot of people mentally masturbate when they read and listen to podcasts. But I say, I want to be able to take something actionable from this book and I'm going to do something about it. And so from every book, I want to do one thing. I'm going to take one piece of action, until I take action, I'm not going to read another book. And so I actually don't read nearly as many books as people think I do.
Yeah.
Because I just try and take action on them, because my definition of learning is same condition, new behavior. And so if I'm in the same condition and I haven't changed my behavior, I haven't learned anything. And so this book is really just the same as watching a movie if I don't change how I act. And so I would make sure that my inputs after reading the book have changed so that I can demonstrate that I've learned. And when it comes down to the businesses, I would make sure that you boil things down also for them. You can use this frame if you're kind of consulting, helping. I'm not sure how the nonprofit works. It's like, what are the inputs and outputs of the business? Because every business is just a pipeline at its most basic form. There's something that comes in and there's money that comes out. And so what is the input that has the highest return on our effort and time and capital or money? And so a lot of times people don't even know what the activities they do. They make money on accident. And I can promise you, they'll make a hell of a lot more money if they do it on purpose. Right? And so it's like, yeah, you know, a lot of people just spray and pray. They do a lot of different things, but they don't actually know that 90% of their sales come from one channel. You're like, cool. Well, what if we 10x that and then forget everything else because we make that a priority? And so the big picture is that strategy is just a fancy dork word for priorities. That's all it is. So when somebody says like, what's your strategy? It just means what things are you prioritizing over others? And it's taking the limited resources we have in time and money and effort against unlimited options. Because there's countless things we can do, but there's limited things that we should do. And that's strategy. And so back to the original point of like, you've got people who aren't encouraging you. Fuck them. You already know that, right?
Well, I like what you told one of the previous guys where you said work is the goal. So I think for me, that's what it is, right? I just want to work. So yeah, so I love that. I wrote it down. So Alex, one of these businesses I'm helping is a gym. So what is your advice on, like right now, let's say around like 70 members, smaller gym, like what's your one piece of advice to like double it and then go big?
Honestly, the simple answer is I wrote an entire book on how to grow a gym. So
Yeah.
I would say like read that book.
Read that.
Like,
Yeah, I
like,
recently started following you, so I,
Yeah.
haven't read that. So
yeah, just read that book. Like you'll have more than one way to double the gym. Like it's just the business has not changed. It hasn't changed in 50 years. It's a very simple business. The thing that makes it harder is people. It's a very service heavy business. It's one of the, there's a handful of businesses out there that what you make a profit on is the quality of the service that you provide, which basically makes it a training and culture business, which is why it's so difficult to scale relative compared to like a food business. Like you can have low skilled labor that doesn't have, tremendous skill and you can keep opening locations and making sandwiches. But when you have like a massage thing, like it really comes down to the masseuse. It comes down to the trainers. It comes down, like, that's why hair salons oftentimes, like there's not a huge hair salon chain. Why is that? Because it's so dependent on the individual stylists, right? And so that's what makes the business easy to start with a single location guy who really loves what he does. More difficult to scale because it takes a lot of systems and operations, specifically around training and recruiting.
Okay.
But if they have 70 members, they're in the same spot that most gyms are at, which they're probably breaking even, and the owner's making $30,000 a year take home and working 80 hours a week. They just need to promote more and they have to fix their pricing. I'd bet that those 70 members, what's the price? I'm getting a little tactical, but what's the price that they're charging?
Like around $30 a class for an hour.
Right. Okay. So it's a class-based thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have to make more money they have to make a lot more money. So they have to charge more, add additional services that add value. They have to be reaching out to every customer on a biweekly cadence to check in with them just because they pretend they care. Like there's just read the book.
Yeah,
just read the
will.
book and do the things in the book.
I will. Thank you so much. Like I said, I love what you do, and I also love to listen to Layla's stuff. So.
Oh yeah, she's way better. People just don't know yet.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Stephanie, for coming on. I appreciate it. Kenny, you're muted. Just FYI.
Thanks, Alex.
Employee / entrepreneur. That's great.
Yeah. It's where I'm at. So
you're good, man. Thanks for the honesty.
Get too far.
Go ahead.
So, for a bit of context here, I've got achievements, and I've achieved goals in other areas of my life up to this point, mostly academics and athletics. I'm realizing now a lot of those goals were external, not really set by me, consciously or unconsciously. So in terms of setting my own goals now, everyone wants to dream bigger. That's already come up. So in business, how do you balance the continuum between what if this could turn out way better than you expected, and be realistic when you're formalizing your goals.
Well, dude, I honestly don't think it matters either way. Like, I genuinely, that's just right off the bat. Like, I'm going to rewind and give you a little kudos because I think you might need to hear it. But the fact that you had the achievements in your career and you were an athlete before this, it actually gives you a pretty big leg up on most people because a lot of times athletes are accustomed to working for very long periods of time without reward before achieving a goal. They're accustomed to the idea of years upon years to develop skills that take mastery. Business is the same way. And so if you can generalize that approach to skill mastery within sports and how you worked within team and having a coach, if you can apply that same perspective to business, you'll crush. You'll do great. You'll go way ahead, way faster than most people because you've actually done a lot of other work that people have to do later ahead of time. So I just don't want you to feel like you're at a disadvantage or anything like that because like a lot of your background's actually prepared you really well for the entrepreneurial path. So just like point one, you should know that. In terms of realistic versus big goals, dude, like you're not. It's kind of like a take this the way I mean it, like a little bit of a mental masturbation exercise of like how big could this get, or like I just want to be realistic. Like it just doesn't matter. Like rational design, I think, is a complete farce. Like no one's like it's kind of like Mike Tyson's thing of everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, and like the market will definitely fucking hit you in the face. And so as much time as you spend, the day you get in the ring, all of it's going to change. And so I would just encourage you to not spend too much time in this phase because it doesn't matter. It's complete make-believe. Like I have never made a business plan in my entire life. I just know like, okay, well, this costs this much. I think I could charge this much. Let me see if I can let people know about it and if they want to buy it. That's it. Like like you just sell something to someone and that means you're in business. Like a lot of people really overcomplicate it. It's like you have a service, you do something that saves someone time or effort, and you charge them a premium on your time in order to do it because you have some skill that they don't or some time that they don't, or you have some sort of product that you developed that, I mean, develop sounds super fancy. Like, it could be whatever. It could be a food thing. It could be a workout thing. It doesn't matter, right? You develop a product, you know what it costs. You buy a little bit more in bulk, so you save, and then you have a markup and you sell it. Over time, you develop a brand because you make content around it that shows why your thing is superior and whatever lifestyle and things that you want to associate your products with, that other people who want to associate themselves with those values will also choose to vote with their dollars by buying your product that they say that these values matter to them. That's all it is. And so there's all this shit that makes business really complicated, but like for you, it's like, dude, just sell something. It doesn't matter. I would actually rather you just make a sale on anything just to show yourself that you can just get through all the first steps, which is like get the LLC set up, get a payment processor set up, get the bank account set up, and then like go ask strangers for money. I'm dead serious, dude. I'm serious as cancer, man. Like that's all you have to do. There's all this shit that's like between your ears, and you seem like a nice guy. This is me just like, just picking up whatever I'm picking down. Like
Speculation.
like no, you see, like, dude, you will win if you stop thinking about it. I promise you. Like way dumber people who are worse with other human beings than you have won in business. Like you can do it. Like you really can. Like I'm just saying, like just off of just like the tiny interaction I have with you. I mean, I did sales for a very long time, so like split second interactions, like decent judge of initial character. You'll be fine, dude. Just have you read the Leads book?
Yeah.
Okay. Do the warm outreach section, do the rule of 100, and either just pick whether you want to sell your time as some sort of service to solve problems for people, or you want to sell a product. That's it. And if you don't have capital, just start with a service and you sell your own time. That's it. That's all you got to do. And if you've read the offers book, make a really good offer. Message 100 people that you know. You already have 1,000 people you know right now on your phone. You can do this tomorrow. You can set up your LLC, bank account, and payment processor today.
That's crazy. I love how you simplify everything. So cutthroat.
Everyone else complicates it. It's always been this simple. Everyone else just fucking complicates it. It's all it is. That's my goal for you. Just do those things. And don't care about whether the goal is realistic or unrealistic. Do that, make money, and then all of a sudden you have a way better perspective on how this works. Because it's like right now, okay, Matt, I'm going to give you an analogy because I think it might be helpful. So what sport did you play?
Ice hockey.
Ice hockey. Okay. So imagine you've got like a 10-year-old kid, right? And he's never skated before. All right. And he's like, I've got these goals between, becoming a high school coach and going pro. And I'm just debating on, what I should really set my goal for my ice hockey career. You'd be like, dude, fucking get on the ice. Like, you don't even know how to skate yet. What are we talking about? Right? Like, you'd probably be like, this is ridiculous. And so it's the same perspective, right? Like, I think you're spending all this time on the side of the ring, and you just got to put your skates on and get in. And then you're going to get hit on your first game and be like, fuck, that hurt. Wow, I can't do what I thought. Because, like, he's on the sideline trying to come up with plays for how he's going to play ice hockey, and he's never even been in a game yet. I promise you'll win, though. If you actually do this stuff, you'll win. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Second question. So you have these goals now, and you're in that first stage, you're in your lonely chapter. How do you create that external accountability to get to these goals when really you're just by yourself?
Dude, external accountability. What's the thing you're most afraid of?
Cool. Yeah. Losing my house.
Okay. You don't want to lose your house, right?
Right.
Then don't lose your house. I don't think you need any more external accountability. Like, I didn't want to go home a failure. That's all it was. Like, that was my external accountability. Every time I wanted to quit, I was like, I can't go home a failure. I will fucking hate myself for the rest of my life. I won't do it. I can't do it. And so losing your house is probably a very painful idea. So you're working right now. The good news is that you only have to work 2,000 hours a year. There's another 6,800 hours that you can put towards this. More of your time you're not working. So just use some of those hours. Do the rule of 100, and then as soon as you make as much or more than you currently make at your job, do it for 6 months. Save up a nut, all that extra cash. Don't spend any of it. Put it in a bank account, and then you'll feel good about getting the other 40 hours, 50 hours a week back, because then you'll just make more. But you just got to make. Are you married?
I'm married. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got to set. And I'm saying this to Kenny's wife because you can play this recording to her. You got to give Kenny space for this. Like, you got to let him do this, and it's going to be a short-term sacrifice. But long-term, if he doesn't do this, he's going to resent that you never gave him the space, right? Because long-term, if she doesn't support you, I'm not saying she does or doesn't, I'm just saying, but like, if she doesn't support you long-term in taking this season, because this will be a season. The thing is, the season might last 6 months. It might last 5 years. And I know that's a big ask, but at the same time, she probably loves you because she wants you to be happy and she wants you to realize your fullest potential. And if you're unhappy in your current thing and you feel unfulfilled and you have this hole that you just can't fucking, like, every day you get in bed and you're like, I hate what I'm doing, or I don't want to do this. I think I can do more. You have these feelings and you're just sitting there at night. Like, you don't want that. But I promise you don't have those thoughts when you're fucking exhausted because you worked a double every single day because you did your job and then you started working on your career. Now, again, be more purposeful with the time. You're probably gonna have less chill time, less Netflix and relaxing, and probably be more strategic and be like, okay, let's make sure the hours we have count. Let's do stuff, or let's make sure that I carve out this time. But then it's like, but that's it. Like, I'm gonna spend the rest of our time so that 5 years from now we can do whatever we want, whenever we want. And I'm just asking, but she's gonna make this bet with you. Right? Does she have a career?
She does, yeah.
Okay, well then you have even more safety net. So you're fine. So as long as, yeah, dude, you can't lose if you actually do it. Like, if you actually do what I just said, you will be fine.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks so much for your time, Alex.
You bet, Kenny. You got it, man. Thanks for coming on. When I started going after bigger goals, I found it more useful to write down what I was going to give up more than what I was going to do. And in general, the bigger the goal, the bigger the sacrifice. So I actually think this is a second frame that is super useful. So one, earlier on, I think Peter referenced, if you don't know what you want to do, figure out all the stuff you don't want to do and cross all those things out first. Another way of thinking about this from a goal setting perspective is like, you need to do these activities, but right now you currently spend every minute of your day not doing what you need to be doing. And so what I mean by that is, if you've been plateaued in your business at the same level for 6 months or 12 months or more, and you spend all of your time working, then you're doing the wrong stuff. And so it means that you can't add more to your plate before you take away. And so I remember there was a time when I had 6 locations and I was planning to get to 10. And I realized that what I needed to give up, because I needed more time in order to do that. And so I realized for me, I was going to give up the Ravens. I'm from Baltimore. I know, sad loss recently. But I gave up watching and following football, because there's obviously the watching football, but then all of the ancillary stuff around it, like the commentators and like who's coming up this week and what are the matchups and how are the other teams doing and how are the players doing and fantasy and all that stuff. So I gave that up. And I gave up basically all the social interactions that I had around that with friends, because a lot of them, that was like the main thing that we interacted on. And I gave up Netflix, because I used to watch Netflix. Now I watch Netflix now because I'm in a different season, but during that season of kind of grind time, I gave that up too. And I remember making this video where I just went Facebook Live and no one gave a shit, because I was just a kid who owned a couple of gyms. But I was like, I just realized that like I have to give these things up that I love. And it was because I loved the thing that I wanted more. And so I think rather than trying, because like right now, a lot of people maybe are taking notes, or they're like, man, there's some activities I need to be doing. You can't add them to a plate that's full. You have to clear space. Like you have to clear space. And and usually when you clear space, it hurts, because it's stuff you like doing. And that's natural. It's normal. But the thing is it's a short-term pain for a long-term gain. Or the alternative is you continue to suffer the same long-term pain that you are, while having these short-term hits of gain, right? These short-term pleasures of fantasy football, of Netflix, of whatever, the show you follow, or whatever your hobby is, right? We do these things, but we sacrifice the big thing that matters most to us. And I think that that's what leaves a lot of people feeling empty. Like if you look back on the last month or quarter or year, and you think of all the hours that you spent on these activities that don't really ladder up to anything, like they don't help you get forward or make progress towards the ultimate goal that you have. And when I say ultimate goal, for me, it's still very much like the person you want to become and the ultimate potential you want to realize. If those things haven't laddered up to that, you probably don't even remember most of it. You probably couldn't even tell me what shows you watched or the games that played, and like, did it really matter? Right. And so again, you might love football, maybe that's really important to you, whatever it is. But like, if you're not willing to give those things up, then just be able to say, I did not hit my goal and realize my potential because of the Ravens. And when you say it like that, it makes you feel like a bitch, or it made me feel like a bitch. And I was like, well, I'm not going to let the Ravens stop me from, realizing what I mean, they're a great team, and I love supporting them, and I love having the friends that I can talk about it with. But if I can't talk to my friends about anything besides the Ravens, are they really my friends? And so you have to eliminate before you can add. And sometimes it hurts, and that's okay.
Hey, Alex.
Is it Karen or Karan?
It's Karan.
Karan. There we go.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I'm a big fan of your and Leila's work, and like it is so exciting to be here, and it's a bit shy to be in front of so many people. And so yeah, my question was about goals. So I'm more or less in the same situation as I think Danny, what was his name? Employee entrepreneur, and
Kenny.
I'm sorry, Kenny. So I'm still trying to figure out my way, and so I have a lot of goals, and I'm very easily distracted.
Yeah.
So what would be your suggestion? Like if I don't have any sales or business skills, but I'm in the entrepreneur phase, and I want to chase my goals. So what would be your best advice for that?
Yeah. Well, there's kind of two paths that you can. Are you employed right now or no?
I'm currently unemployed now.
Okay. So there's kind of two paths that I would consider strongly. So one is that I would try and work for a small business owner. And the reason I would say small business owner rather than a big business owner or a corporation is because in a small business, you're going to get to touch all the different aspects of business because there's just not that many employees, and you can spend your extra time trying to learn from the other people who do those functions. So every small business is going to have some element of marketing. They're going to have some element of sales. They're going to have some element of product or service or customer support. They're going to have all these elements. And so if you go there, you can go with the full intention to learn and just get paid to do it, which I think is a wonderful way. And I think a wildly underutilized way for people who are kind of like not sure what to do. Go work for some businesses that you think you might want to start later. It's the best way to learn. Like I quit my consulting job. I didn't start a gym immediately. I went and I worked for minimum wage. I was a consultant. I was, I made a good living. I was a Vanderbilt's very good school and highly ranked in the US. And I went from a prestigious consulting job, white collar, doing space cyber and intelligence, to mopping gym floors, right? But I did that
Wow.
because I had no intention of staying mopping gym floors. I wanted to learn the ropes. I wanted to learn how it worked. And so I worked at the gym. I was there 16 hours a day. I got there at 4 when the owner got there, and he would leave at 4, so he'd work 12, and then I would keep working until the gym closed, because I wanted to know what the trainers were doing. I wanted to know what the billing person was doing. I wanted to know how the sales worked. I wanted to know how the marketing worked. And so that's what I did. And honestly, the way I did is I emailed 40 different gym owners because I wanted to get in the gym business, and only one of them got back to me. And he said I could work for him. And so I drove out and I drove out there with my car and packed up, and that was all I had. And I started working for him the next day for minimum wage, right? He called me his apprentice, right? And so like there are a lot of paths. And if you feel like you have absolutely zero knowledge, you'll probably learn a lot faster just getting into a business and getting a feel for it and getting paid to do it. So that's it's like you'll get paid to do it. Just be willing to take a pay cut. That's the thing, is everyone has this big ego about like what they should, what they deserve. I'm worth this. It's like, no, you're not. You're not. Right? You're worth what the market's willing to pay. And if the market's not willing to pay that, then you're worth less. And that's fine. As long as you don't think that that's your worth, that's your worth in this season, which is you're getting paid to be a student. Everyone else pays to be a student. You get paid to be a student. What a wonderful life, right? So I think that's path one. Now, path two is if you had said, I am an employee, I'm making money now, I would have said, okay, learn as much as you can from the business that you're in if you like that business, and then take all the excess cash and invest it in courses, skills. And when I say this stuff, because a lot of people are like, well, what courses, blah, blah, it's not about that. Like there's so much free information on the internet. You can immediately use that stuff and deploy it. But there's still costs of learning. And so what I mean by that is like, if you want to start a school community, like there's a cost, right? You want to start a website, Shopify costs money. Like you want to, like all these things, but the thing is the cost of starting those things, or the cost of running your first ads, it costs money, but you learn. And so you take the cash that you have and you deploy it against those things, right? And if you're like, fuck, I really suck at ads, then sure, maybe pay someone for tutoring. That's what I did. I literally paid a guy who was a media buyer, one of these agency owners, and I just said, hey, how much do I have to pay you an hour? He charged me $7.50 an hour. I didn't have that kind of money. And so I was the best fucking student in the world. I sat there, I recorded everything, I took all the notes, and I did everything he said. And within 6 weeks, I could run ads like him. And so like you can learn this stuff quick if you just take the notes and you apply yourself and you're willing to risk some money and bet on yourself. But TLDR, if you're unemployed right now and you want to get into the business game, figure out what business you want to get in, at least generally. Go to a small business, I would say 10 employees or less, and then say, I'll hustle, I'll work everything, and I'll commit 2 years. I'll give you 24 months of the absolute best effort ever, and I'll eat dog shit in terms of what I'm willing to make. If you're willing to make the trade, and you don't even have to say this explicitly. Like I didn't say, hey, Sam, I want to learn everything from you. I was just like, I just want to learn. And most business owners want people who want to learn, of course, because they want you to get better. Because if you're better, then you make them more money, right? And then take your extra time, be friendly to all the other employees. And most people, take them out to lunch, have Zoom call meetings with them, see if you can help them, and then they'll help you and they'll teach you what they do. Like this is how I've learned everything. Just nice to people. I try and do a favor for them. Then I ask them if they can show me what they do. That's all I've done, just for a very long time.
Okay. So in a nutshell, just get hired, basically.
Yeah. In the short term.
Yeah.
Just remember, like it's not a loss though. It's not like you failed as an entrepreneur. This is just a step. I was an employee first too. Like it's not like you're failing. It's just like you just expand the time horizon and see that you have to develop these skills and just think, okay, I have to develop these skills. That's the principle that I have to accomplish. How many different ways can I do that? If you don't have the means right now, because you have to like eat and pay rent, then go get employment at something in the industry that you're interested in, ideally in a smaller business, so that you can learn from those people and get paid to learn. What a deal.
Yeah, if you put it that way, that makes sense. It's
Yeah, I think people should put it that way. Yeah, don't worry about your parents or your friends or what they say. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Everyone thought I took dude, I was a white collar consultant from Vanderbilt, finished in 3 years. I had above Harvard's mid score in the GMAT. Like I had the cred, and all my friends were doing really fancy consulting jobs, looking way cooler than me. And then when they found out I was going to become a trainer at a gym, mopping floors, like, oh, poor you here, Alex. Tough time. I'm guessing. Are you Indian, or you have a ethnic background?
Yeah, I'm an Indian.
Right. And so I'm sure your parents are tough on you. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Of course they are. And good for them, right? They're trying to raise a good kid. I get it. But they want you to win. And so I'll say this. As long as you work your fucking ass off on a long enough time horizon, you will gain their respect back. They said they're just going to measure you on this because it's all they know. They're just doing the best they can with what they know. But the world's changed since they were kids and since they were your age, right? And so it's okay to, like, I know this is tough, man. Believe me, the hardest decision I ever made was disobeying my father. Hardest decision I ever made, and quitting my job, right? Now, I think you're in the position like you can get a job that's below your pay grade. My dad didn't tell anybody that I quit and started working at a gym. He didn't tell any of his friends until I owned a bunch. Then he was okay talking about it again, right? Because otherwise his son was a failure, right? And then he was a failure. And then he's like, oh my God, I'm a failure, right? And so it's like, you just have to have a longer time horizon for your success than they do. And and like, don't resent them. They're just doing the best they can with what they know. Of course they are. If they love you, which I'm sure they do, they're just doing the best they can with what they know. They might not say it well, but that's what they're doing. And so go work, even if it's below the pay grade, with the full intention of working your ass off and learning everything. Like, rip all the knowledge from that business. Specifically, learn the most about acquisition, which is how they get customers. Learn that. When you have that, then you can go start whatever service you want, and maybe you'll learn how they do whatever their service is. You can start your own.
Got it. That's a lot of valuable advice. Thank you so much.
You bet, man. Good
Thanks.
luck, dude. You'll be fine.
Yep. Thanks. Yeah,
Long
bye.
time horizon.
Okay.
Long time to win, man. All right. Spencer.
Alex, nice to see you. How are you?
Excellent. How are you? What can I do for you?
Good. I would love 2 questions, but I will be happy with one. The first one is, how do you determine priority actions when you have no tangible evidence or results for which to make priority action decisions from?
Okay. For what?
So context-wise, I do fitness. I mean, I'm a coach. I have been for 8 years, transitioned online, and my main focus is in the morning. I do my deep work. I write long style posts. I create content.
Okay.
My goal for the year is to get 750 pieces of video content out. I'm just chasing that number as fast as I can. Okay. And in the afternoon, trying to reach out to as many people as I can before Facebook or Instagram block me from reaching people.
Okay.
When there's no real results, like, direct for me to directly say, making this many reels or making this style of reel, talking on this piece of content leads to X number of clientele or X number of calls, whatever.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I'm just doing too many things and if it would be better to focus on 2 of those things.
Yeah. So how long you been doing? You doing 100 reach outs a day?
Just about. I've been averaging about 75 so far this year, so which is short of 100.
Okay.
And that's the very. I
Sure.
knew that was gonna.
So you're a month in. Of doing. So when did you start? You started in like January 1st. When did you start?
Middle of December. I've been doing reach outs for quite some time. Reach outs are always the shittiest one and the hardest one because I have. I believe very little goodwill with my audience outside of the content that I create. I think most of the connections I have are not warm.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, that's why it's cold. So like, that's fine. Okay. And then from a content perspective, you're putting out how many pieces of content a day?
2, sometimes 4. Usually 2 or 3 reels and 1 still type post.
And so from all of that, you've gotten 0 customers. This whole
I've
time.
gotten 3 or 4 this year, I believe.
Okay. So in 8 weeks, you've gotten 4 customers?
Sure. Yeah. 5, 6 weeks.
Okay. So 5 or 6 weeks, you've gotten 4 customers. So you're getting like a customer every 10 days.
Roughly. Actually, so 4. Yeah. So 1 every 10, 12 days.
Okay. Dude, I think you're fine, man. I think you just got to get better. So like you're doing the right activities. You just have to go through the better loop. Like right now, you're like, I'll bet you your opening message is probably not as good as it could be. I'll bet your nurture in the conversation of like how you're doing the ACA, like acknowledge what they're saying, compliment them, ask them the next question. Like that could use some work in terms of how you're actually nurturing them to like get them interested and clarifying what problem that you're trying to solve for them. Mm-hmm. And then getting them to a call that you can sell them on. I'm guessing that's more or less how your funnel works.
Essentially, yeah. Most of the reach outs don't lead to anything.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's fine. I mean, if you it's 1%. Like I mean, it's a very low, like it's a volume game. Sure. And so you're getting a customer every 10 days. Like if we can improve, like the nice thing with outbound that I love about this is that like you can double a response rate, you can triple a response rate, and all of a sudden every 10 days becomes every 3 days just from that one change. Mm-hmm. And so right now, do you have all the metrics of that lined out? I know we're getting tactical for everybody who's listening, but this is how we break shit down. So in terms of, I get your inputs. So you're putting 2 pieces of content out a day and you're doing your reach outs. Okay.
Mhm.
So do you have like your next like funnel metrics? You have a certain number of responses. So are you reaching out to people who are like liking and commenting on the posts and whatnot?
Yes, but it's always the same people. And lately my content has been getting less and less engagement.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna give you a small piece on this. Is I'd rather you spend more time and make one good piece of content.
Okay.
Just make it good. So
Per day.
now you just got to make 7 a week, just one a day. Just make one good piece.
Okay.
Just make it better, because in the content game, quality does like, it's kind of this tough thing where like you have to make a lot in order to learn what people kind of like. But if you make too much, you spread yourself too thin because it's just you. And so quality still trumps. Quality trumps quantity, but quality trumps quality on its own, right? You want to make lots of good shit, but one good thing, like one good video, will make you more money than 10 mediocre or shitty videos. But you only get good at making videos by doing more. That's why it's kind of like a chicken egg issue. I do appreciate that you're getting the reps in, but you're 5 or 6 weeks in. So like, I would not lose steam. It probably also is a little bit of an expectations thing. Like if you're getting a customer every 10 days, like it's not terrible. Like it's not terrible. Like all we got to do is tweak one part and then it becomes every 5 days. Now you're at more than one a week.
Sure. 5 or 6 has been like 3 years. Like that's since I drastically increased the volume. I've been coaching for several years and making content online. I would say the consistency is more in the past year and a bit, but the volume recently.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
The volume particularly recently, because I mean, full transparency, I just kind of hit a mental low that I didn't really want to be alive anymore. I felt like I was just I was the success zombie that we talk about, that you want the things but you don't do.
Yeah.
You don't take any of your own advice, and
totally.
It was a really cool place to be, because I haven't been more excited to create than I have, I think, ever, which fantastic. So the volume, I mean, I back to Kenny's example of playing hockey. Like I played hockey growing up too, and I had a shooting cage, and I took literally 50,000 shots.
Yeah.
And so that was like people. I hated when people told me like, "Man, you shoot really well."
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it 50,000 times, and so that's my goal with content is do double the amount and get better.
Yes. So like you're like, dude, you're on the path. You're just early. I'm being dead serious with you, man. Like the fact that you've got like in the last whatever 5 or 6 weeks you've gotten 4 customers, like you're just on like shot like 300 of your 50,000. Like you'll get better. I would just make sure that keep split testing the opening lines and the offer that you're actually presenting people when you're getting on the phone with them, because those are going to be the biggest levers you have. Opening message and the offer are going to be the biggest levers that you have in outbound by a long shot. And if people aren't responding, I would say give away more free shit. So on that opening message, see if you can just give shit away, because you need to get some traction. You need to get some inflow. Like this is just me sensing just from like what you're saying. Like I would rather you have a full roster of clients that you're helping quote for free, and then barely be able to take people on, and then start raising the price. Say, hey, I can't do this anymore for free, and then start raising price on those people and asking them to pay. Like I'd rather you just give away more shit up front so you can get more people interested. Does that make sense?
In terms of lead magnets or in terms of working with clients? Because it has been a few years. And so like I have my bills paid with my client roster.
Cool. Okay. Well then, yeah, to me, one and the same there. Like the lead magnet can just be a shortened period of time. I mean, you've been through the leads book, I'm sure. So on the lead magnet chapter, it's just about like, how can we just give away more shit on the front end to get people interested? Just keep giving stuff away until you get more people engaged. And that'll dramatically change your funnel metrics. Like if I had one TLDR for you, like one thing to take away from this, like, 2. 1, make a little bit less content. I'd rather you just make it better, right? Because if you're doing the solo 2 to 4 pieces a day is fucking tough. And the reach outs and the client roster, like that's a lot of work, dude. So I commend you on the work ethic. Drop it to 1. And then the second is put all the excess time into giving away cool shit. Now, I would say instead of giving away like free materials, I don't think people are going to care a ton about that in the fitness space, just speaking from my own experience. I think what they will care about is free time and effort and consulting. And so that's where you can like walk someone like, hey, I'll do a free kitchen walkthrough. You can FaceTime me. We'll walk through your kitchen. I'll tell you what you should be eating or not eating. Hey, we'll do a free grocery guide. Next time you go grocery store, let's schedule the time. FaceTime me. I'll walk you through the store, what you need to get, when you need to avoid. Like, just get a little bit more creative on the stuff you can give away on the front end. Just give. And dude, if you spend an hour with someone talking about their food or talking about grocery shop, they'll be like, shit, this was so helpful. And then there's gonna be this pause where they're like, well, how can I get more of this? Right. And you're like, well, it's funny you ask. And then you say, hey, why don't we talk tomorrow? I know you're getting in the car. We'll talk tomorrow and I'll walk you through it. Cool. And then they will show up and they're very likely to buy. But just front load on the DM. Because if you went through the cold outbound chapter in leads, the biggest breakthrough we had was giving more shit away on our outbound. Like front loading more stuff to give to get people engaged. Especially if you're cold, you got to make it insanely good for them to respond. Warm traffic, they'll just get on the phone because they trust you. But cold, you got to make it worth their time. And you have like this long to do it.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 takeaways. 1 piece of content, give way more shit up front.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And funny little idiosyncrasy there. Synchronicity. You said when you give so much that people just naturally want to. That's how I signed up a client today. I got to the end of the call. It was going to be a strategy call. Yeah. And she's like, well, can you do that? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Dude, that is how marketing works. So do that. Just give that away. But strategy call is a little bit of like, people use those as sales calls. So like, I might call it something different, but just say like, hey, I'm going to walk you through an entire nutrition thing. It's absolutely free. I do it because I want to give back to the community and it helps me know people. And at the end of that call, if they don't like sign up for you, just say, hey, do you have any friends who might be interested in something like this?
Didn't do that today.
All good. No, like, dude, you're on like shot 300 of 50,000. Like,
yeah.
You're fine, dude. But dude, you're 5 or 6 weeks in. You still already got 4 customers. Like, you're fine. Just from an expectation standpoint, like you're super early.
Thank you. It feels longer because I've been at it for years, but it's.
But dude, you weren't
early in the consistency aspect.
Yeah, you weren't though. You know what I mean? I'm only pushing on that because I don't want you to beat yourself up for it. Like you were in this industry, but you weren't playing the game.
Right.
Like now you have skills and you're playing the game. You're thinking inputs, you're thinking outputs, you're thinking funnel metrics. You weren't doing that 2 years ago. No fucking way. Right? You're doing that now, and now it's just going to go up. I promise you. Like, we're just going to keep tweaking these little aspects of the funnel, and you'll be good. Like, if you're doing 1 every 10 days, it takes a double to get 1 every 5 days. It's 2 doubles every other day. Like, you're this close, dude.
I appreciate that.
Yep. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for hopping on. The bigger the goals you set, the bigger the failures you get. Scars we collect from the monsters we've slain. You know, when you go after big shit, it just hurts more when you fall. And the more public you are about what you want to do, the more people will jump on the bandwagon because, you know, people love heroes, but they don't love anything more than watching a hero fail. And so expect that if you start going after your goals and you start achieving them, people will start looking at you differently, and secretly they will start hoping that you fail because it will make them feel better about the action they have never taken. And so, like, I mean, I've told the story before, but when I was sleeping on the gym floor, a lot of my clients were like, oh, good for you. You're pursuing your dream, you know, all that stuff. But then when the gym started to work and I started to make money and I started to be able to like live on my own, and I had like managers and all that stuff, like people were like, oh, big man, you know, decided to come in. Oh, thanks for gracing us with your own presence today, you know? And it was this moment where I realized that people believe in the American dream or root for it until it comes true. And then you become the man. And I don't really know when that happens, but my postulate is that it happens when you pass them. You go from pursuing the dream as the underdog to the man the moment you pass their level. And so some of the scars that you have aren't even from failures, but they're from relationships that you thought you had that you don't, because you realize that people weren't actually rooting for you. They were making themselves feel better by pitying you, and you thought they were rooting for you. But if they were really rooting for you, they'd root for you even harder when you win. And it's really rare to find those people. And the more you win, the more you realize that, like, people who you see as friends and acquaintances actually see you as the competition. And so I would just say, like, if I could tell my younger self that, I would have just prepared myself more for that and just said, like, it's okay to lose friends because they weren't friends to begin with, and you didn't really lose friends. You exposed the fact they were never friends to begin with. And that being said, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the second episode of 1 of 0 Live. If you like this stuff, drop it in the comments. It gives us the signal that like we should keep doing this. If you guys hate it, like we won't do it anymore. So definitely tell us. It just gives us really valuable feedback, so that we can just help you accomplish your goals, which hopefully, if you got anything from today, as long as you work, you have achieved the goal, and you become a success the moment that you decide you are. And that took me a very long time to figure out. So when you do the activities, you are by definition being the person that does the activities, which means you are realizing every day the potential that you want to have. So lots of love, keep being awesome. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.